For thousands of years, the laws of nature have been our only certainty. The sun rises, gravity pulls down, and the seasons follow a predictable rhythm. But in the Pacific Northwest, deep within the Cascade Range, that certainty just evaporated. What began as a subtle anomaly in the tree line has become the first crack in our reality. This isn't just an optical illusion. The National Weather Service and independent monitoring stations from Montana to Arizona are capturing data that shouldn't exist. We are talking about confirmed footage, cross-referenced by satellite telemetry and ground sensors, showing atmospheric phenomena that violate standard physics. These aren't equipment malfunctions. The cameras are working perfectly. It is the subject matter that is broken. But the true horror lies in the data. In 2024, we recorded only 3 verified incidents of these reality glitches worldwide. By 2025, that number crept up to 12. But look at 2026. In the first 6 weeks of this year alone, we have documented 47 separate events. The curve isn't just rising, it's going vertical. From gravity reversals in the Midwest to temporal loops in Alaska, we are witnessing the systematic dismantling of the natural world. Scientists are calling it an atmospheric decoherence event. The rest of us just know that something is terribly wrong. This is the documentation of the acceleration. Welcome to the new reality. January 14, 2026. A desolate cornfield in Iowa. Ambient temperature is -8 degrees. Conditions were standard for a midwinter afternoon until 4:32 p.m. Watch closely. The snow isn't being blown by the wind. Wind speed was recorded at 0. The precipitation simply stopped obeying gravity. Instead of falling, millions of tons of ice crystals began to drift upward, returning to the clouds. Local residents initially thought they were seeing an optical trick. But thermal imaging and Doppler radar confirmed the impossible. A localized gravitational inversion. For 20 minutes, the vertical velocity of matter in this zone was positive, not negative. Physics didn't just bend here, it broke. The cornstalks remained grounded, anchoring themselves to normal reality, while the atmosphere around them inverted. This wasn't an isolated event. Within 48 hours, similar gravitational anomalies were reported in Lincoln, Nebraska, and along a highway in South Dakota. A gravity distortion triangle is forming across the Midwest. If gravity, the fundamental glue of our universe, is becoming unreliable, then no structure on Earth is safe. And as we would soon learn, the laws of energy were next. Eight days later, on the plains of Montana, Station Theta 9 was tracking a severe electrical storm. Lightning is supposed to be transient, a flash of plasma lasting milliseconds. But at 2:37 p.m. this bolt struck, and stayed. It froze solid in the air. A jagged pillar of pure, glowing energy, locked in stasis connecting the clouds to the ground. This footage captures a violation of thermodynamics. Lightning is plasma, superheated gas. It cannot freeze. Yet, sensors detected a constant voltage output like a battery that never drains. It remained fixed in the sky for over 14 minutes, casting permanent shadows on the grass. The air around it didn't dissipate. It solidified into a gelatinous state of high-voltage matter. By the time the bolt finally vanished, reports were coming in from Wyoming and North Dakota. High-voltage stasis zones. Nature is losing its ability to discharge energy. It's hoarding it. And while the scientists were distracted by the frozen light in the north, the southern deserts were about to experience a contradiction that defies all logic. February 8th. The Texas Panhandle. The ground temperature is 115 degrees Fahrenheit. The heat shimmer is visible on the horizon. By all known laws of meteorology, it is physically impossible for snow to exist here. Yet at high noon, a heavy blizzard began. Fluffy, white, crystalline snow falling through scorching hot air, without melting. Look at the thermometer. 102 degrees air temperature. Now look at the hood of the truck. The snow is accumulating. This is a failure of phase change. The thermal energy from the sun is striking the ice crystals, but the energy transfer is simply ignored. The water molecules are refusing to transition from solid to liquid. It is a thermodynamic rejection event. Satellite imagery pinpointed these cold anomalies across New Mexico and Oklahoma. Localized pockets where winter and summer are forced to coexist in the same space. It creates a friction in the atmosphere that our models can't predict. But as terrifying as heat-proof snow is, it pales in comparison to what happened when the water itself decided to change direction. The Columbia River Gorge in Oregon. Millions of gallons of water rushing toward the Pacific Ocean, driven by the inescapable force of gravity. Until February 14th. Witnesses reported a sound like a seismic groan, and then, the current stopped. For a split second, the river paused before violently surging upstream. This isn't a tide. This is a reversal of kinetic energy. We are talking about massive hydrodynamic forces suddenly deciding to climb mountains instead of descending them. The water displacement measured at the dam suggests a localized gravity well pulling the river back toward its source. The volume of energy required to do this is incalculable. From the Snake River in Idaho to the creeks of Northern California, the waterways of the Pacific Northwest are becoming unstable. We rely on water flow for power, for agriculture, for life. If the fluid dynamics of the planet are glitching, the consequences are immediate and catastrophic. But while the water was flowing backward in Oregon, the desert air in Arizona was about to shatter. Sunset in the Sonoran Desert. The air is still warm from the day. Everything appears normal. Then in less than 0.3 of a second, absolute zero. A wave of flash freeze swept through the valley. It wasn't a weather front, it was an atmospheric state change. The temperature dropped from 98 degrees to -60 so fast that the camera sensors barely caught the transition. This phenomenon is known as a cryosphere. Inside this zone, molecular motion stops instantly. You can see the steam from the ground freezing mid-air. The biological impact is devastating, but the physical impact is explosive. The fluids inside the cacti expanded so rapidly that the plants didn't just die. They detonated. Shrapnel of frozen organic matter scattered across the dunes. Las Vegas. Joshua Tree. The Southwest is becoming a minefield of these thermal pockets. There is no warning, no cloud formation, just an instant switch from life to ice. And yet, as violent as this is, it is still organic chaos. What happened next in Vermont suggests that this chaos might actually be calculated. Nature does not build in straight lines. Clouds are fractals, chaotic, fluffy, organic shapes. That is, until January 28th over the Green Mountains of Vermont. Look at the sky. Those aren't trails or interference patterns. The cloud layer itself snapped into a perfect Euclidean grid. 90-degree angles, equidistant spacing. This is not weather. This is geometry. Meteorologists are baffled. There is no known atmospheric condition that can force vapor into square formations. It looks less like a cloud and more like a low-resolution rendering, like a wireframe. Some physicists have whispered the word simulation. The idea that our reality is rendering these clouds, and the software just glitched. Similar geometric failures have appeared over the Swiss Alps and New Zealand. A global triangulation. If the atmosphere is a chaotic system, it should be random. But this is order. Terrifying, artificial order. And if the structure of space is breaking down into grids, it was only a matter of time before the structure of time followed suit. Keystone Canyon, Alaska. We perceive time as a river, flowing smoothly in one direction. But at Bridal Veil Falls, the river got stuck. Watch the water. It falls, vanishes, and reappears at the top. A continuous 1-second temporal loop. But look at the birds in the background. They are flying normally. The glitch is localized only to the waterfall.
It's not the camera.
This is a temporal desynchronization. The timeline of the water has detached from the timeline of the surrounding canyon. It's like a skipping record in the fabric of space-time. Scientific instruments placed near the falls recorded data that made no sense. Chronometers resetting themselves every 0.84 seconds. Gravity isn't just pulling the water down, time is pulling it back. We've seen these stutters in Iceland and Yellowstone. High-energy geological zones appearing to lag behind the rest of the world. If these time loops expand, if they catch a person or a city, you wouldn't just be frozen in space. You would be trapped in an eternal moment. But the final anomaly suggests the system isn't just skipping, it's crashing. Lake Superior, the largest freshwater lake by surface area in the world. A massive rendering of nature. On February 15th, the resolution dropped. Look at the horizon line. It's not a blur. It's pixelation. Massive cubic blocks of water and sky. The seamless curve of the Earth has been replaced by jagged 8-bit geometry.
What is that? Are those blocks?
We are looking at a resolution failure. The molecular bonds holding the water together are arranging themselves into macrostructures that mimic digital compression artifacts. It's as if the universe is running out of memory. The complexity of the waves is too much to sustain, so reality is simplifying itself, downgrading the graphics of existence. This phenomenon is spreading to the salt flats of Utah and the fog banks of San Francisco. It is the ultimate visual proof that the fabric of our world is thinning. We are seeing the pixels of reality. 8 distinct phenomena. For weeks. One undeniable conclusion. The system is unstable. And the crash is accelerating. Over the last 20 minutes, you have seen the impossible. Snow rising, lightning freezing, time looping. These aren't random glitches. They are symptoms of a single global condition. The mechanisms that hold our planet together, gravity, thermodynamics, time, and matter, are decoupling. The data is irrefutable. From 3 events in 2024 to 47 in the first 6 weeks of 2026. If this exponential growth continues, statistical models predict over 200 anomalies by the end of March. We are approaching a tipping point, a moment where the glitches become the norm, and the stable reality we grew up in becomes the exception. We don't know if this is a natural cycle, a simulation failure, or something far more alien, but we know it's happening, and we know it's getting faster. If you see something, record it. Document the date, the time, the temperature. We are all part of the investigation now. Keep your eyes open. Reality is changing. Stay vigilant.